Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today we're talking about Bach, the Brandenburg Concertos. Oh boy, talk about an iconic piece of music. I mean, there's a bazillion recordings of them on normal and on period instruments. And the period instrument versions have really taken over the Brandenburg sweepstakes lately because as the period instrument groups have learned to play their period instruments, they have started to really turn on the juice when it comes to this music, making wonderful, wonderful performances. And there are really a lot of them. I mean, really, half a dozen, who knows? A large number of really first-class performances of the Brandenburg Concertos, all 6 of them. And so choice is always going to be very hard. And there may be several Brandenburg videos in this endless series of greatest recordings ever because, they are one of those, it's the, Parnassiae, I don't know, whatever you call them. Please don't tell me because I don't care. One of those heights of summits. There we go. Let's do that. A summit. They're a summit of Baroque instrumental or orchestral music with such variety and richness of invention so that everybody, when they come to finally record them, really wants to do their best. Some things are hard to kill. Some things die rather simply. There's a whole series of videos about things that die rather simply. And in this case, we've got, we're spoiled for choice. And so, amongst all of those fabulous versions on period instruments and regular instruments, the greatest recording ever, for this video anyway, is this one, which I have talked about before. I confess, Musici from 1984 on what was Philips and what is now Decca. It's not period instruments. Ha! So there. But we will have some, so don't worry. All you hip people, just calm down. The period instrument ones will come. I promise you that. But this one has to be discussed because it's really at the summit, the Parnassus, of the not period instrument performances, which are just as valid and just as legitimate because there's nothing authentic about period instruments, as we all know, and I think we all agree, whatever our preference happens to be. I mean, there really has to be room for an absolutely superb version on normal instruments, which is, by the way, very, very cognizant of period style. Musici was the most stylish Baroque orchestra around, still is probably, or was. And, they made marvelous recordings of that type of music with scrupulous musicianship and endless virtuosity and incredibly cultured sound and elegance and style, things that a lot of the period instrument groups don't have, to be honest with you. They just have speed and a certain edge to their tone. So there's a lot to be said for gorgeous performances, taking into consideration some period norms, size of the ensemble, the transparency, the liveliness of the rhythm, the balance between the continuo and the main orchestra. All of these things are basic musicianship, which everybody has to have. It doesn't make any difference what kind of instruments you play. I mean, you have to have musicianship. And this has musicianship galore. And the list of artists who participate, I mean, this was we're going to get the best of everybody on their instrument, irrespective of, what period instrument they're playing, and we're just going to knock it out of the park. And that's what they did. I mean, you've got, let's see, Herman Baumann is your first horn, the great horn player, and you've got, let's see, who else is in here? Pina Carmarelli, violin, first fabulous violinist. Oh my God, she's marvelous. And she plays also the violino piccolo in number 1. And we've got, let's see, Heinz Holliger playing the oboe, and Klaus Thunemann on bassoon, and who's the cembalist. There's got to be a cembalist here. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find him, because they list everybody. Well, let's see. Recorder, harpsichord. There we go. Maria Teresa Garatti, who's wonderful in her cadenza in number 5. It's just a first-class assortment of instruments and people. I mean, instrumentalists playing those instruments. It doesn't get better. It really doesn't. I mean, all the winds and horns and things in number 1 are just glorious. The trumpet, let's see, the trumpet is Guy Fouvron, who is brilliant in number 2. In the 2-string concerti, numbers 3 and 6, you've got just this they just sound beautiful. Is there anything wrong with that? I mean, seriously? You have wonderful transparency and linearity and buoyant rhythms, but just a rich, warm, wonderful sound. Bach would have loved it. You know he would have loved it. You absolutely know he would have loved it. The flutes and recorders are delicious, or whatever. There are recorders in number 4. Number 5, of course, like I said, it's got the harpsichord cadenza and everybody else going crazy. I mean, it's effortless. It's just a wonderful, wonderful set of joyous instrumental music. That will make for endless hours of enjoyable and pleasant and thrilling listening. I mean, there's got to be room for that, folks. Always. We don't have to get our knickers in a twist over what type of instruments are being played, and start to draw lines and say, well, sanctimoniously, well, this isn't authentic and this is more authentic. This is musically authentic. It doesn't get more musically authentic than this. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.